Hi, everybody. I hope you all had a wonderful weekend, no matter where you are. However, I do want to take a minute and congratulate Her Majesty the Queen, the royal family, and the entire British nation and armed forces, and everyone else who had a role in this weekend's Jubilee celebrations for a wonderful display. It was absolutely fantastic. And a big thank you to the Royal Grift for bringing us the concert live on YouTube. It was so much better watching it in real time than having to wait for a replay. Anyway, guys, now we are back to normal, and today we have to talk about the good and the bad, the pretty and ugly of real life again. First up are the Harkles, as always. There had been talk that the Harkles left the United Kingdom on Saturday afternoon already, but Trevor Colt said on his YouTube video, and others assured me that that was not true. The private plane they came in left Farnborough just after 3:15 yesterday, being Sunday. Well, my dears, here is your first clue that they came to be seen with the royals, and not because they loved the Queen and Granny so much, because if their main objective was to spend time with the family, they would have stayed for a few more days after the event, because I'm sure that all the royals are taking to their homes for a well-deserved few days of rest. Now would have been the perfect time to put their feet up along with the rest of the family and have some real conversations. And indeed, my information was that they were going to stay the week, or at least until Wednesday. Well, that didn't pan out, did it? So let's look at all the stories, the lies, and the truths which did the rounds over the weekend. The first story was that the Queen met Little Bit on Thursday before Trooping the Colour. Well, I wasn't a fly on the wall, but I sincerely doubt it. I did not look at what time it was when the Queen arrived at Buckingham Palace, but the Queen does not just arrive anywhere, does she? The Queen will have her breakfast, have her hair and makeup done, get dressed, and then she still had to travel from Windsor to Buckingham Palace, where she appeared on the balcony just before 1 o'clock. No way in a month of Sundays did she have time to meet up with the Harkles and their children before trooping the colour. After the ceremony and likely a lunch, the Queen travelled back to Windsor Castle, where she lit the first Jubilee beacon in Windsor Castle's quadrangle at about 9:30 p.m. We also know that although most of the grandchildren brought their children, the little Cambridges were there, Peter Philip's daughters were there, Sarah and Mark Tyndall's children were at Buckingham Palace, and so was Eugenie's little August. But we also know that Harry and Meghan left Buckingham Palace alone and without children, courtesy of Meghan herself, as she so graciously wound down her window so we could see into the vehicle. And unless the children were in the trunk, there were no children. So let's move to Friday. The Queen unfortunately did not make it to the service of Thanksgiving, but Harry and Meghan did, alone, which is absolutely cool, as it was not the time and place for little children and babies, and Lady Louise and Viscount Severin were likely the youngest people there. So let's move on to the next myth and story, of which there are plenty. Some say Harry and Meghan were not invited to the reception after the service. Well, I can tell you 100% that this is not true. They were invited. I promise you they were. They were penciled in every court circular to attend the service and the reception. Now, we can all speculate until we're blue in the face, but the fact remains that they decided at the very last minute to go back to Windsor. And when I say last minute, I mean they decided during or at the service not to go to the reception. Nobody expected it or were prepared for it. So the myth that they had to rush back to their kids is absolute nonsense. They must have made arrangements or had arrangements in place before the service, as until then they were still going to attend the reception. Now, we can all imagine why they decided not to go. I mean, we all saw the expressions on the faces of the people inside the church, never mind those who booed them outside. Anyway, then came Saturday, and everyone expected them to attend the concert that evening, but they didn't. So did they or didn't they have a birthday party at Frogmore for Little Bit's first birthday? Well, we don't know, at least not yet, because according to a source who himself does not really know yet as he was far too busy over the weekend, one of the conditions of them coming over for the Jubilee is that they won't leak or publish any story or photographs of the children until after the Jubilee. So, if there was a party and if photographs were taken, we may not see it at all, or may see one or two after their return to the United States. However, one of the stories we could likely debunk with a certain amount of certainty is the news story that Little Bit's birthday party turned out to be a chilled, low-key event for royal children. Well, which royal children? William and Kate were in Wales with George and Charlotte, and unless they asked their nanny or Catherine's parents to take Louis to the party, there is no way a Cambridge baby would have been there. I, however, sincerely doubt anyone took Louis. I can't see William allowing it. I mean, he hasn't spoken to his brother or sister-in-law himself, so why would he expect anyone else to spend the afternoon with him? In any event, Louis was at home at Kensington Palace when they returned from Wales. We saw him running up to his parents after they landed. Mike and Zara were at the Derby. We saw Mike snub them at the church. Thus, I think we can with a certainty rule out Mike and Zara's children, as well as Peter Philip's kids. Was Eugenie there with August? Maybe. Beatrice with Sienna? I doubt it. Was the Queen there for tea and cake? I sincerely doubt it, but who knows? Maybe they paid a visit to the Queen when no one arrived for the advertised party. Who knows? My sources are still trying to find out exactly what transpired. What I do know is that Harry and Meghan did have a meeting with Charles and Camilla at Clarence House on Friday, sometime after the service and reception. From what I hear, they arrived alone, without any children, did not stay long, and Charles and Camilla left the home shortly after the Harkles left. In my opinion, they went to speak to Charles about the booing and the frosty looks they got at the church, where it was obvious that very few people were actually happy or charmed to see them. There are even a few people suggesting that Charles summoned them after it was discovered that Meghan was wired for sound at the service. It is suggested that it was Charles who banned them from any further events as a result of this. Do I know this for a fact? No, I don't, but it is a definite possibility. That bump or lump under Meghan's dress looked very suspicious, and I noticed that during the service a couple of people, including Lady Sarah Chatto, whipped their heads around to look at Meghan. Why? Did she suddenly squeak or buzz? I saw Meghan's face freeze for a second, followed with her fiddling with her collar. So, although I do not know for a fact that she was mic'd up and that they were banned from further events, it would not surprise me at all. And at this point, I am inclined to believe that something went very wrong on Friday. So wrong that the Harkles left the United Kingdom before the end of the Jubilee and did not attend any of the other fun events. No, guys, nobody flies all the way from California to Britain just to go sit at Frogmore all by themselves. Microphone or no microphone, something went horribly wrong on Friday. Okay, now let's stay with the subject but approach it from a different angle. Were the children even in Britain? Did they even bring them? Well, there is absolutely no proof that there were children with them. Everybody took their children to Buckingham Palace for Trooping the Colour, but not the Harkles. There were no accidental sightings, nothing. Come on, guys, how many times have the Queen been photographed driving on the Windsor estate? Even Andrew was photographed riding his horse in the Windsor estate. Lady Louise was photographed practicing at the Windsor estate. But with the world's media in Britain, no one had even taken a long distance blurred shot of them coming or going with the children. How is that possible? They could not even take Archie, who's 3 years old, to watch the Queen light that tree? Seriously? If there is something a toddler absolutely loves, it is lights. Well, I second the Queen when she says one has to be seen to be believed. I did not see those children, so I don't believe they were there. Will photographs after the fact released in the United States convince me? No. With Meghan's propensity to Photoshop, etc., I am at a stage where I'll only believe it if I see a video of a gurgling, moving child or children. But we'll talk about the situation with the children in a separate video. For now, and before I go, I quickly want to talk about Harry. Understand me loud and clear. I have little to no sympathy for Harry, but it was very clear that Harry was upset during the service of Thanksgiving. There is no doubt about that. It was written all over his face. Whether it was because of the booing or the seating arrangements is absolutely irrelevant. What is relevant is to figure out what is going on inside his head and his heart. Was he angry or was he sad? Does he even understand why they got that reaction? Does he understand that the people are angry because he abandoned one of the most prestigious roles anyone can have? A role in which he could serve his country and his people. And he abandoned it to go to California, where he did not leave well alone and go on to live his life. No, he went on to join his wife in lying in a television program viewed by millions of people all over the world. From Harry's own mouth, we heard that his father cut him off. But when his father's financial statements were released, it was proven that Charles still paid him that year. He was sitting right there when his wife said they were married 3 days before they were married. Do I need to continue to remind you of what this man said and did? It was Harry who told the world how he was triggered by the cameras and traumatized by London. Yet it was Harry who appeared on James Corden and on Oprah's The Me You Don't See, and so forth. But here we are, and unless Harry is completely insane and delusional, he must be hurt and saddened by it all. To see people who loved him and enjoyed his company in the past snub him and pull up their noses at him, he must feel something. But what? Is he angry or is he sad? What if he does not understand why this happened, and instead of being sad, he is now very angry? What is he going to do next? Is he going to reflect and find a way to heal his relationship with his family and his country? Or is he going to act out and take revenge? I am personally very grateful to the royal family for how they handled this toxic situation over these last few days. And I respect William, Charles, and the Queen for the way they managed to keep this negativity and toxicity away from the public eye. But it is my personal opinion that the drama is far, far from over and that the poo is going to hit the fan, or shall I say, the headlines. Now more or worse than ever before. And whether you like it or not, in my opinion, Harry is in a worse state than ever before. And I predict that when this eventually ends, Harry is going to be the worst off. In my next video, I'm going to talk about what I think Harry can do to save himself. I'm going to talk about Charles and Camilla a little, and I'm going to talk to you about the perspective and opinions of people who are not British. So guys, until we meet again on the next video, please take good care of yourselves. Bye.